Welcome back to a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. This week on the episode, we're going to be answering the question from one of our listeners. Jackie wrote me a message saying that she's been loving the reinvention episodes, but she had a question. And her question is, how do you defend your new identity when others around you might not understand the process you're going through or who you are becoming? Or maybe they're not supportive of the changes that you're making. So that is what we're going to be talking about today on the podcast. Let's dig into today's podcast episode. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Well, I don't think we need much introductions for today's topic, isn't it? I'm sure that many, like Jackie, had this question of how do you go about making changes in who you are, in how you show up as part of this reinvention when others around you might not support you or the changes that you're making? Well, let me tell you that the first thing to start with is to try to understand why is it that they're not supporting you? Or maybe the question is, do they really don't support you? A lot of times we make the assumption that others around you don't support us. But really, what is going on inside is that internal story that we're telling ourselves, stem of that limiting belief that we do not want to disrupt others around us or make others uncomfortable around us because of our change. So I think we need to start just by asking the question, do they really don't support you? Or is it you telling the story that they don't support you, which actually means that you are afraid of making them uncomfortable? And I think that is a tough question to answer to yourself, but we need to start there because I think that most of the times it is not that others are not supportive of our change. It's just the stories that we tell ourselves and the way we interpret the things that we see around us from that lens of us don't wanting to disrupt others around us. But I'm not saying that others around you might not be supportive of your change. And I think we need to start then, if after answering that question, you're like, nope, that's not me. I don't have that limiting belief. I truly believe that those around me are not supportive of my change. I really know that that is a fact. Well, I would recommend that you start by trying to think about why is that? I think a lot of times we go through changes, or even it's not a change, but it's just you working towards a goal that you have or a dream that you have. And in your mind, you're very clear, right? And I think maybe taking a step back, that should be the first step. Are you clear on why are you going through this reinvention? Are you clear on why are you pursuing that goal or that dream? Because if you have your why very clear, I think that is going to be your anchor, right? Regardless of how many pushbacks you get, regardless of how much support or not you get, you're going to continue to push through it because you're so clear on why you're doing it. And that why is so important to you that it doesn't matter what's going on around you. you're going to keep trying and you're going to keep going on this journey of becoming this new, better version of yourself or pursuing that goal or that dream that you have. Now, the fact that you're clear on why are you changing or what you're changing doesn't mean that others around you do. So, them not supporting you might be just that they don't understand what is that you're trying to do. And they're just trying to protect you, right? It's not that they're unsupportive of your goal, is that they they don't understand why you're changing. And like every human being and in front of change, they resist the change. And they might have the best intentions when they're not supporting you because they're not clear on what's going on and they might just be trying to protect you. They might be thinking from their perspective and their way they're looking at what you're doing that maybe you're setting yourself up for success, for sorry, not for success, for failure or for struggle. Or maybe they don't see that you need to change, right? Another reason why they might not be supportive of your change is because looking you change and evolve makes them feel bad about themselves. A lot of people want to change and they don't. And when they see others around them changing, that makes them feel bad about themselves because they're not able to do what the person in front of them is able to do. And that caused them to be unsupportive. And it typically comes from more of an unconscious place, more than a conscious place. So, what you're seeing of them not supporting them, you might not be them being intentional about not supporting you, but it's just, again, the stories that are going through their own minds and how they're feeling about themselves. Another reason why they might not support you is because they don't fully understand. Back to you know your why, you know where you're heading, but do they know? Have you shared with them what is that you're trying to change? Why are you trying to change? Why is important to you? If these people are people who love you, people that are close to you, they want the best for you. So them not supporting you, I don't believe that it's that they don't want what is best for you, but maybe they don't understand or they don't think is the best for you. And a lot of times, um, it's a matter of us not being clear and transparent and having communicate to others what is that we're trying to do and why is that we're trying to do what we're trying to do. But here are my tips to bring them on board with your reinvention and get their support. Number one, and this one I heard and I learned from KK when I was doing the Unleash Her Power Within program, and that is double down on love. A lot of times when we're going through a change, we're so focused on ourselves. It's all about us because we are the ones who are changing and we are focusing on what is that we need to do and we focus on doing what we think we need to do. But we need to be conscious also of the people around us and double on the love in making sure that in the process of changing, in the process of reinventing yourself, you're not forgetting about the people that you love most and to make sure that they feel loved during that process. Because a lot of times, remember, I mentioned the reason why you might feel they're not supporting you is because they don't understand what you're doing or because they feel bad about themselves. They might feel bad about themselves because they want to change and they haven't, or because they're seeing you changing and now they're afraid that that might impact the way that you see them or the way that you love them. So double down on love. The other thing is try to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand why they might not be supportive of you. It might be one of the reasons that I mentioned before. And this is very important. Don't judge them, right? You're trying to get them on board. So don't judge them. They are in a different place than you are, and you need to accept that as a fact and don't try to judge them for where they are. The fact that they are not going through a similar process or a similar journey as you're going, that's totally okay. This is your journey, it's not theirs. So don't judge them for where they are, or don't judgment for what might be the reasons why they're not supporting you in the way that you would like them to support you. They might be supporting you, but from their own perspective and from what they think is what they need to do to support you. So at sometimes just having a conversation of what is that you're doing? Why are you doing it? Why is so important? But also sharing with them how is that they can support you in this journey. Because they might not know. They might be trying to support you, but you're perceiving it as they're not. So have you talked to them? Have you shared with them how is that they can best support you? Another thing that is very important is don't try to push them to do what you are doing. A lot of times we get excited about something that we're doing. Like when I attended the Unleash the Power Within, I wish my husband was there with me. I wish that he liked those types of events, but he doesn't, and I do. And he was supporting me, taking care of the kids and taking care of everything. So I could be there for the entire duration of the training, of the class, of the event. But it's just unfair for me to just expect him to do what I'm doing or for him to like the things that I like, right? I share with him that this was important to me and why it was important to me. And I also told him how he can support me. I asked, would you like to do it with me? And he said no. And I respected that because he doesn't like that type of things. I do. And that's fine. You don't have to do always the same things. And you should not expect others to do what you're doing. They're all in their own journey, right? But share with them how is that they can support you. Sometimes just letting you be, it's the support that you need. Just letting you go through this journey and pursue your why, it's all the support that you need. But you need to be as specific in sharing with them how they can support you. Don't judge them and don't push them to do what you're doing. Another way to get their support in what you're doing is by displaying the benefits. Don't talk about it, act. Don't say it, show it. Don't promise anything, prove something. That is a quote that I once heard, and it's one of my favorite quotes, right? It's don't talk, act, don't say, show, don't promise, prove. And yes, I've been talking a lot about my reinvention process here in the podcast because this is what I do. This is the reason why I do the podcast, to share these types of things with the audience that listens to the podcast. But I'm not talking about this in this way with the people in my life. They know that I went through the UHPW and the UPW, and they know why it's important to me. But I'm not constantly sharing the things that I learned. I'm not constantly sharing what is that I'm planning to do in detail, like I do here in the podcast. I just focus on displaying the benefits. For me, it's more important that they see that I've changed and that that change is making me feel happier, but also it's improving my relationship with every one of those people around me, right? So you want to display the benefits. So when they see you, they're like, oh, you're a different person. And I love it. You seem so much happier. You seem so much fulfilled. You are so much more present. Whatever it is that they have to say, they should say it because they see it, not because they hear it. So stop talking about what is that you're going to do. Stop talking about um, the actions that you're taking. Take the actions, and through the actions, show them that new version of you, and show them how that new version of you is making you feel happier, is making you feel more fulfilled, but also how is benefiting them as a result of you changing. Um, Another thing that I would say is really important in this journey is making sure that you stay true to yourself and to the new you. A lot of times we're tempted to go back and forth. If you had followed the episodes around my journey through Unleash Her Power Within, we call it the dance. Whenever we are in the decision line, whatever that decision is, whatever that situation is, we tend to dance between the old self and the new self. And when we are in that decision line, that is the key point where we need to decide who and how we're showing up in this situation. Are we showing up as our old self, or are we showing up as our new self? And I think whenever you are in that decision line, in whatever situation it is, you need to always stay true to yourself and the new you. If you are trying to become this new you, if you're trying to make this new you the only you that shows up consistently, it's like training a muscle, right? You need to train yourself to stay true to that new self and show up as that new self in every situation. So as situations come up, make sure that you stay true to yourself, that you stay true to that new self. And sometimes that is going to take you reminding yourself of what does that mean, or even asking the question to yourself. In this situation, and in this case, this situation probably is a situation where you're facing or feeling that others are not supporting you. You might be tempted to contract into your old self because you don't want to make anyone around you uncomfortable. Back to my initial question today, right? But when you are in that situation, ask yourself, how would my new self show up right now? And remind yourself of who you truly are and stay true to that new self. Okay, so one more tip today that I want to share. When the people around you are not supporting you in your transformation, in your reinvention, maybe it's time to audit your circle. Who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? And how each of them is impacting your transformation, your reinvention journey. And there's going to be ones that are really supportive, and then there's going to be the ones that maybe are not so supportive. So, after going through everything else that we've talked about, after trying to understand why they might not support you, after doubling down on love and sharing with them your why, and sharing with them why is this important and how they can support you, and without judging them, right? And you displaying the benefits. If you've done all those things and they still don't support you, maybe you need to ask the question on, do they belong in your circle right now? And I'm not suggesting that you stop talking to a friend, or you say we're not friends anymore because you don't support me. That's not what I am going um that's not what I'm saying here. But who are you spending the most time with? Are those people that are negatively influencing you, that are not supporting you, that are creating stress in you, the ones that are pushing without meaning to, but making you feel like they're pushing you into your old self, and the ones that are making it hard for you to really show up as that new self? Maybe you need to frequent them less often for this period of time in which you are in the midst of making those changes, until you are ready to reconnect with them and display the benefits to them. So now they are able to understand the changes that you went through and how those changes are making you, again, more fulfilled, more happy, and can also benefit your relationship with them. And maybe, just suggesting, you need to find a new circle. Maybe you need to join a circle of people that are going through a similar journey as you are. The power of community is so important and so powerful when you're going through a transformation, through a reinvention. Surrounding yourself with like minded people, with people that are going through similar situations as you are, who are pursuing similar things as you are, that can be a game changer. Because if you surround yourself with people that speak your same language when it comes to this journey that you're in, they're going to be able to support you. And not only they're going to be able to support you, but you're going to be able to learn from them as well and grow together. This part of joining a new circle has been so important to me. That circle came with the Unleash Her Power Within and the Unleash the Power Within. And I told you I was part of this squat journey, this little group, like 13 of us, that we were doing this together. It was a group within the bigger group. And being part of a community like that, a group like that, has been a game changer for me, because they went through the same program that I did. They experienced the exact same things that I experienced, or very similar things. And we've been sharing along our journey, how is that we're feeling, what is that we're doing, what is that we're thinking, what is resonating with us. And we are supporting each other because we're able to understand each other in a level that no one else can, because we were all there together. And we're all in this journey in our own ways, right? Our new selves might look different. What we're pursuing might look different, but the journey is the same. And that has been a game changer. So ask yourself, audit your circle. Who is in your circle that maybe you need to put some distance? And who are the people that you need to invite to your circle? Or what is the circle that you need to join that is going to help you throughout this reinvention journey? And having that type of circle outside of your day to day circle can be very powerful. And that doesn't mean that you stop being friends with the friends that you've always been friends, or that you're putting distance with your family. But sometimes you just need to talk to someone about what's going on. Sometimes you just need to share with someone, how are you feeling, um, how things are going. And maybe the people that are in your circle, they can't understand what you're telling them, because they are not going through a similar journey. They have not gone through similar experiences. So instead of talking about those things, or going to the people that are in your current circle with those things, and when you go with someone sharing those things, typically you're expecting something in return. That could be that they listen to you, they understand you. Maybe they can share with you a different perspective, or they can give you a tip, or they can share their own perspective. And if you're going to people that don't understand what you're going through and why you're going through it, They're not going to be able to respond in the way that you're expecting them to respond. That is so unfair of us sometimes to expect that they're going to understand what we're going through and they're going to be able to support us in a certain way. They can support you in other ways. But then if you join this new circle of people that are going through a similar journey, those are the people that you can go to and share and ask questions. And they're going to understand what you're saying because they're going through the same experience as you are. So, audit your circle and join a new circle of people going through a similar journey as you are. And maybe just doing that, it's enough for you to feel that you have the support that you need around you. Okay, so that is my take on this question. Um, Jackie, if you're listening to today's podcast episode, I hope that this answers your question. Thank you so much for sending out the question because I think, like you, many other people are having the same question or are experiencing the same exact thing. So I hope that these things are helpful. I hope my perspective helps in here. As always, if you like today's podcast episode, I'm going to ask you a favor. Please share it with a friend or two or three that you think can benefit from today's podcast episode. And with that, I hope you have an amazing week ahead, and I will see you here again next week for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.